So guys, welcome to Goldie. Yes, allow me to show my pedal board because it's the end of 2025 now and I want to document what I've been using so that in the future if I'm going to be wondering, oh, what's a clean pedal, the overdrive pedal, this that I was using before, I can have this as a reference and maybe this might be useful to you. You might learn something, hopefully. If not, hopefully helps in some way. Right, so that's my pedal board there. So I'll go through one by one. I use the Shure pedal, this one. This is the GLXD, the first version. The first generation GLXD 16 wireless. It's turned off at the moment, I'll turn it on. It's not connected though. Because I'm wired at the moment, because I don't need to be wireless. I also want to be grounded a little bit, so I play wired. Now, got that's a tuner. And then, I'm still using the Joyo PLX8. This is just my switcher. A for clean, B for crunch, C for my main rhythm, and D for the solo. Alright? Now, when I'm on the clean, the pedals that are activated is this. That's the Erin American Sound, which is similar to the Joyo American Sound. They sound identical, but there's a reason for me putting the Erin as the clean sound and the American Sound Joyo in the crunch sound, because I think there's more mid-range or something, some kind of low mid, and the Erin I found the mid-range is cleaner perhaps, and it suits a clean tone more. Alright, so the Erin American Sound, and it also uses the reverb, this is basically a Joyo reverb, a copy of the Joyo reverb. It's called an artist, it's an artist pedal, artist deep space reverb. And the setting on this is on the, what's that, church setting, I think. Yeah, it's on the church setting. Because I found that that's a sound that suits what I do. And I closed that so the settings are protected. So those are the two things, the Erin American Sound and the Joyo / artist Iron Man reverb. Now, the way I set up the Erin American Sound here for the clean is I set it up because you can get different type of tones with that. You can get either like a blackface sound or a tweed sound, bassman, or a really old tweed from the 50s, but I like to use it like a bit of a bassman. I think it's a bassman style where it's tweedy, but it doesn't have too much of that overdriven mid-range. This is basically how it sounds with the McCarty 594 single cut with the 5815 LT plus pickups. These are the like a PAF style, I suppose, but the clean tone is kind of like this. Well, not kinda, but this is the actual tone. A little bit overdriven. And we're on drop D. whatever the settings are, looks like the settings are visible so that you can see if you have a similar pedal, like or even an Iron exact one. That's the settings I can do on it. Now, the way I'm running this rig is that from right now, the guitar, the signal chain right now on the clean setting is the guitar to the PLX8 routing to the Iron American Sound, and then also the Joyo Artist Reverb, and then it goes to the Joyo Cab Box, which is a power amp simulator and a cab box simulator built in. I noticed though, when I play this setup with my orange pedal baby with the Vintage 30 cab, it kind of sounds different. It has more headroom, it's cleaner. But with the Joyo cab box, I guess there's a limitation on it because it's a pedal. It's not a real deal like Class AB or Class A power amp with a real Vintage 30 in a real box, right? So this is good for practicing at home and for kind of demonstration purposes. If I was gonna use the real rigs, I'll have to hire a rehearsal studio for a couple hours and then film this like this, right? For now, this is just probably a reference, really, which again hopefully is going to be helpful in some way. Moving on, we are going on the crunch channel, which is the B channel there. Now this is the American Sound, the Joyo American Sound, which is this one here. And it's also using a reverb, but sometimes I don't use a reverb with it so that it sounds tighter if I need it to be. The Joyo American Sound in this one is set up to be more like a blackface type, a slightly cranked blackface Fender. So kind of like the sound be like this. Not the tightest on the low end there, but the other tones are doable. They're tight enough. And with reverb, don't really use it much with reverb, but that's the tone there. Nice little in-between sound. Now moving on, C is just my Rev G3. And the Rev G3 paired with the Joyo Gate of Khan. This one here. Noise gate. This noise gate only has one knob. It has two LEDs for some reason, but it's one knob. And it works like a... do you remember the ISP decimator? The OG ISP decimator. It works like that. Let me just fix this cable here because it works kind of like that. One knob to rule them all. And it works very, very well. As you can see, so it's quiet. It's quiet. Well, the volume is off, but it's quiet. You can kind of tell how effective it is. Without it, you can hear the noise there, right? Put it back on. It's quiet. And it doesn't really interfere with the tone. Oh, is it the tone? The tone is not the tone, but the sustain and the attack and everything. Let me compare it. This should probably be another video. Let me turn it on. Now, it's making a bit of a difference when you have to think about the context as well. When you have an amp in the room with you, like on stage, when it's loud, it's not gonna be choking like how you were hearing it, like. See how I'm kind of fighting a little bit with the noise gate right now, because when you're on stage, there's gonna be feedback from the amp interacting with the guitar in the same space. You understand? So it's gonna be sustaining, not like this. There's no amp here. There's just the cab box and then straight to my ears, my in-ears. That's it. Realistically, it works for me, and I'm not super anal about this, so this does the job very well, and that's good for me. That's good enough for me. This is my rhythm tone with a Rev G3. the Rev G3, man. That's the OG Rev G3. That's the version 1. And that's been in my board for a long time now, ever since I bought it, really. Even the G3 V2 didn't make it. I don't know. If it sounds... I just feel like... I explained in another video. It just seemed like it wouldn't cut through, it wouldn't poke out in the mix as much as this. Because I was testing it out with playing it with tracks and I was struggling. But that's a previous video. And by the way, all of these pedals are housed in an old Boss BCB 60 pedal case. It's been pretty good. I like the limitation on space. It makes me be more creative and choose kind of the pedals that matter, the things that matter, right? When you have limitations. It's good, man. You should try it. Now, moving on. By the way, that Rev G3 pedal, the switch in the middle that you see there, it's on the neutral position because that's how I like it. That's how it gives me like a good, gnarly, throaty sound. Because if I use the blue mode and the red aggression, it's both of them are a bit too grainy for me. So I use the neutral position, so it's like a throaty. Now, the next one is on the D setting, which is on the solo setting, is the Joyo Dark Flame, which is basically a clone of the Rev G3 version 1. And I love it because that thing is much cheaper. If you look at my board, it's almost a Joyo board, really. The only thing that's not Joyo is the Shure, the Rev G3, of course, and the power supply that I'm using is a Moen, and I've had that for a while, man, and it's still working fine. And it suits my needs, the number of outputs and the voltage that I can choose. It works for me, man, and it's a good size. Now, the Joyo Dark Flame, that one is using it's also using the neutral position on the aggression switch. I set it up so that there's more gain, and what's the difference there? I think it has a little bit more mid-range, if I'm looking at that correctly. I think that's how I set it up. Right now, this is how it sounds. Nothing complicated. It's a simple lead tone. Just make it a bit louder and a little bit thicker sounding, I suppose, and pleasing. Something like that. Right? Not too much treble, and just so I will cut through better, and it'll become a big feature in that section of the song. Nothing fancy. As you can see, I got some spare picks in there on the pedal board, and also marker, because in the gigs you tend to need some of that stuff. I've used this kind of pedal setup in international. I brought this around to interstate tours, and hey, it served me well, man, because the form factor of this case is pretty good. It's not super bulky like those trolley ones that people carry. Big, although those are more durable because they have like metal edges and metal corners, and then it's pretty convenient as well because it has a pull handle, and then it has wheels on it, so it becomes like a trolley type of thing. But this one is okay. I don't mind it like that with no wheels. I have a separate trolley that I transport my gear in. I put the pedal board, I put the cabinet in that one trolley, and then lug it like that into the venue. And that's it, really. That's just a simple setup. There's no atmospheric reverb, delays, because it doesn't really matter to me, man. I also don't have the space. Having said that, I've also ordered pre-ordered the Fractal Audio AM4, which is like a mini, like entry-level Axe-FX type thing on the floor, right? Because as good as this setup is, this pedal case setup here, it's still kind of heavy. And if I need to jump on a plane, this is gonna take up a lot of weight allowance on the plane. So I'm always up for some kind of improvement, and I don't really want to use other. I don't really want to try other modelers. I think I have just a bias that because Axe-FX are the best in the business or something like that. That's why I pre-ordered it, because of what they're known for. They're the OG. I think they're the OG in that kind of thing. Perhaps not the OG, but they just were really good early on. And also the reason why I'm reluctant to try the other modelers like the Line 6, was that Stadium XXL or something, and the every other model, Quad Cortex and all this stuff. It's probably because something to do with fearing latency, right? Because I hate feeling latency on my plane. It throws me off, man. I try to work with it, but it's hard, man. Like, I don't know if I can get used to it. That's why I'm still sticking with this analog setup. So hopefully the AM4 is not gonna have too much of those delays or latency. If it disappoints me, then I suppose it's not gonna be too hard to sell off. But I'm always open to better alternatives. I want lighter pedal rigs, and to make transport or in and out of the gig easier. Have to strike the balance between sounding pretty good and being very practical with the physical logistics. I don't know, time will tell. We'll see what happens, okay? But apart from that, thank you for watching. I've been Goldie.